All right. So today, what we want to talk about is just using some of the one of the very, very basic functions of Zoom, and that would be the share screen option. Um, how many of you have you can raise your hand visually on screen or over here in the chat. How many of you have had an opportunity to use share screen in an interesting way during some of your lessons? Okay, good. Yeah, I hope that everybody is using all of this as an opportunity to experiment a little bit and try things out. So perhaps some of the things I talk about today may seem really basic to you if you've spent a week already using some of this stuff. But there might be some little things that you learn, and hopefully, if we have a chance at the end, you can share some ideas that you've used that I didn't discuss. So first of all, I want to go ahead and show you a few things. So number one, how many of you have used a PowerPoint with your screen share? Okay, if you haven't done that, that's probably a really fast way to share like presentations. If you're interested in like planning out a presentation step by step, and you want to introduce information in a very structured way, PowerPoint would be a really great way to do that. And I'm just going to do some of these things, share them with you so that you can just see what it looks like from the student's point of view. So for example, I'll do this here. So right now everybody can see a little PowerPoint. This is nothing very, very complicated, but it's something I was using with a student earlier today, where I just had several reporting verbs, and I put a little line at the bottom. And another function that you can use on here is the annotate function. If you haven't used the annotate function, it's it's a useful way for your students to interact with you while you're doing screen share. So if you haven't used annotate, what you would do is move your mouse to the very top of your screen. Oh, there's somebody's already using it, of course. Thank you. We love you too. If you move your mouse up over the little green place where it's got the ID, and you click on options, you should see several options there. In English, it says annotate. Can any of my Russian speakers tell me what the word is in Russian to access that function?
Комментировать.
Okay. Whatever they just said, do that. So, by clicking on annotate, you now have the opportunity to, basically you can do stamps, you can draw. As the host, I can actually select things that people have made and I can move them around. Let's see, so if I want to move this heart, let's see, oh, it's not letting me move the heart there. So I can move things around that you've created. I don't believe you can do that to things I've created. But the other thing is you can actually have them write text. So for example, if I were to clear all of those beautiful drawings and I asked one of my students to write a sentence using insist, if you're on a PC, then they should have, or a PC or a desktop, they should have this option where it says text, and then they can write a sentence. If you insist, yes. As you can see, having this annotate function can be a little bit chaotic if you don't if you don't try to use some structure and give some ground rules for how you want students to use it. I think it's fine to let students play around with it for a few moments just so they can see how it works and all of the different things. But once an activity begins, give them very specific instructions on what you'd like them to do, maybe even do an example for them. And then you can call on individual students to write sentences. They can label pictures. They can do all sorts of things like that. And as usual, I would encourage you to experiment like many of you are doing right now with all of the different annotate options at the top of the screen. Also, let's see here. So I'll clear all that again. Let's see, clear all the drawings. Oh, they just keep coming. let's see. I'm going to stop share right now. So that would be just ways to use PowerPoint. Learning how to use PowerPoint is a completely different thing, but if you play around with PowerPoint a lot, you know that there's ways that you can add video, you can add sound, you can add animations. There's a lot of stuff you can do with PowerPoint, so that might be something else you can play with. Additionally, how many of you have used your screen share to play like audio clips? Okay. If you're not aware, one of the things that you can do is you can have your audio tracks all set up, have them ready before the lesson begins, and then when you do screen share, we'll do this right now. When you click on screen share, one of the options that appears in the bottom left of the menu, it says Share Computer Sound, and if you click on Share Computer Sound, then what happens is, if I go to some kind of media player, right now I'm using Groove, which works fine for me. What happens is my sound from my computer will actually play straight through the speakers of each student's computer as if it's playing on their computer. So I'll just play like this little exam practice task.
Exam folder 6, exercise 4. Now listen to the other 3 speakers, and for questions 3 to 5 and 8 to 10, choose from the lists A to H.
So, if your speakers are turned on, then you should have heard that just as clearly as if you were playing it on your own device. And so that's quite useful. Most of the audio files, let's see, if you don't have the audio files that you need, contact your administrators. And they can help you figure out how to get like the audio files that you need digitally. If you have CDs, you can play CDs straight off of your computer. My CD player's broken, so I have to get lots of like audio files and download them. But that is something that you can do. How many of you have used like videos, like shared videos in your lessons? So very similarly, if you go to screen share and you activate share computer sound, then you can go to something like YouTube. You can pull up something like YouTube, and now we've got like Rob and Jenny here from the Practical English file stuff. And again, I can just play a video straight through my computer, and everyone can watch it as if it's just playing on theirs. Let's see here. So we can all watch Rob and Jenny. I can go to full screen.
Jennifer?
Rob?
Yes, hello. Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
Call me Jenny. Good to meet you too.
Welcome to London. Am I late?
Okay, so if you're working with like young learners, or actually like any class, but if you've got some kind of like little short video clips that you want to play, then you can see the quality is quite good and you can play it. This is the type of stuff that I think a lot of us would love to do in our regular classes all the time, to just be able to pull up a YouTube clip and share it with everyone.
Yeah.
But it's quite inconvenient because very often you don't have a TV, or everyone has to gather around somebody's phone or something. And now you actually have the ability to show it to everyone in quite clear, high quality. There's also a function when you do the screen share, it says share computer sound. Another option is optimized screen sharing for video clip. And when you do this, basically what it does is it removes all the video thumbnails off of the screen, so that the video thumbnails that you can see of all the people in the chat, it doesn't block anything in the video. So that's another, just a little thing that you can click on if you want to make sure that the video is not impeded in any way. Let's see. Something else, and this is something we can all play around with now. Let's see, and actually we can stop for a moment if anybody's got some things to add. I see that Stephen has added over here, he says, students annotating can be distracting, so it might be useful to disable participants to annotate. That's a good point. With young learners and with teenagers, if they look like they're going to just play with it and be distracting, then you do have the option of turning that off. Let's see. Let's see here.
Touch, this is worthless.
Let's see. So just with some of these like really basic things, are there any like questions or suggestions or things that you've done in class using videos or annotation? If anybody has like any like suggestions or questions, yeah, just raise your hand. I noticed that, let's see, I saw some hands.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, how can we play the board game during the lesson online?
What do you mean by board game?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by board, like a game that you would play using like?
For example, when you have to throw the dice, to roll the dice, and we have to move, how can we play it online?
Has anyone done anything like that? Done like a little dice rolling board game? Has anyone had experience with trying that out?
No. I think it's difficult in this situation. Maybe we should try another options. Maybe we should leave playing board games till the better times when we are all offline again.
I've done it. It's very easy.
Okay.
It's very exciting.
Can you share your experience with us?
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, but it was on another platform. It was called Classin. So it's a Chinese platform. I was teaching kind of Chinese students, and they had some additional features like, you know, I don't know, games, entertainment, and so on. So I played a lot of board games.
Yeah, I think there's as you can see, there's a lot of experimentation that you could do. You could find the game board, if you could find like a graphic of that online, like an image document, and then you could screen share that image document. One of the things that you could do is you can make like for example, I saw when we were doing the screen share earlier, let's go back to that real quick. I'll go to the screen share. Actually, I'll go to the whiteboard. If you do screen share with whiteboard, you could theoretically, let's see here, you could have a game board.
Yeah.
And what you could do is, if you have like say 6 students, then each student could have a different stamp. So maybe one student can be an arrow, one student can be a check mark, one student could be an X. And now I have the ability, I think you can, I'm not sure if you can give students the ability to do this, but I have the ability to move each of these things how I want to. And so it may involve you moving the pieces yourself while the students tell you what they'd like to do. But you do have the ability to like move markers around the game board. About rolling dice, that's a little different. I do know there are some online little, I hesitate to call them an app, but probably like little sites where you can generate random numbers like dice rolls.
Yeah, there are some websites. You can just Google them.
Yeah, so that would there are enough things if you think it out a little bit, then you would be able to play a board game. It would just be a matter of finding the graphic, putting it on the screen, using the stamps, moving them around, finding a way to generate the dice rolls.
And can you tell me what is the name of the site, please? Because I knew one site, but I forget the name of the site. Time, something like that. Don't remember the end of the site.
Someone has just written in chat, Dice Roller Online.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen.
Dice Roller Online. Okay, thank you.
Dice Roller Online. Yes, I wrote it down in my notes.
Thank you very much.
It's right there in the chat if you have trouble like hearing or spelling that. So another thing that you can give students to do, there's actually a student screen share function, and this is by default it's deactivated. But when you go to screen share, there's a little arrow next to screen share, and if you click on that, you can switch the option to multiple participants can share simultaneously. And so if I basically give everyone permission to share their screen, I can actually give you all tasks. I did this with, I had a one-on-one student with 2 girls last week, and I had each of them open up like Microsoft Paint, like something they could draw in, and I was giving them like these silly things to draw, and they would draw them on their computer at home where we couldn't see, and then they were able to share. They were able to share their screen so that we could look at the drawings that they had done. If I want them to see what they're drawing, then I can just do that directly through the virtual whiteboard. So having the students share thing is also useful. And I do want to repeat for the late arrivals that we are recording this, and it will be posted on like a private YouTube channel. So it's something that's available. It will be available for all of our teachers to view, but not available for just the general public to view.
Something I did that might be interesting is I used Google Earth. We were doing different locations, so I'd show them the locations on the map.
Ah, interesting.
I could quickly show you that with screen share.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so you can use the screen share yourself, and so basically this is a way for me to hand something over to a student. So he's got Google Earth there, and the students could take turn naming a location or a place.
Yeah, so this was where different schools were in the thing we were handling. So I was going between the countries.
And again, if a student were abusing this privilege, or if they started causing problems, then it's quite easy for me to go back into the same place and just automatically change it back to like only me, and nobody else can share anything, nobody else can interrupt. So Zoom is pretty good about that. It gives a lot of options for lots of interactivity, but the host can shut that down really quickly if they need to. One more piece of interesting interactivity that if you're feeling like taking a chance, you can actually give students control over your desktop. And I'm wondering if has anybody done this before, or can anybody right now see if you can take over my desktop? What I'll do is I'll share screen. I'm going to go to.
The fact is, sorry for interrupting. I tried it with my son, and it was a very good idea that I did it with him. Just because if you give this opportunity to somebody, you cannot take it back before that person gives it back.
Actually, one of the things that we discovered is that you can take it back. And all you need to do to take it back is you just click. If you click on your mouse, then it automatically takes control back.
Yeah, but I tried many times, but I could not take the control back.
Interesting.
My son was playing in my computer like it was his.
Yeah, so
it was okay for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. It was okay, but it was very, very slow. So and it doesn't work every time I tried it. So maybe you should try it yourself.
I'm going to give permission to Larissa to control my.
That's me, Chad.
Yeah. Before I do that, I'm going to start. Let's see if I can move this. I'm going to start this little interactive game, and then now I'm going to give Larissa control. So I've given you control, Larissa. Are you able to control? So now
Maybe.
Larissa can actually play this game. So what she sees up at the top, there are animals. Down at the bottom, there's a sound that the animal would make, and she should try to pop the balloon. So what animal says blub?
I fish.
The fish. So she wants to try to break the balloon so that the fish balloon, or the fish, wrong word. She needs to click on fish.
It's lagging a bit, Chad.
It doesn't lag?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very laggy.
It's very laggy. Interesting. Okay, well that's good to know also. I did have a game that I played with some students where we didn't have this problem, but there wasn't a lot of movement on the screen, so perhaps, so you may not want a game that involves a lot of hand-eye coordination because of the lag. So let's see. But I just clicked on my mouse. Larissa, do you have control over my mouse anymore?
Doesn't look like it.
Ah, well, it looks like she did a little bit there. But if I, yeah, I'm fighting with her a little bit, so let's see. Yeah, we're fighting a little bit, so.
I'll stop.
So let's see. So, so there are some things to pay attention to if you do give control, but it is if you have a game that just involves clicking on something, like making a choice, or dragging something and dropping it somewhere. Maybe that wasn't the best game to demonstrate. Actually, it was good to demonstrate because we saw that that lag time can interfere with hand-eye coordination type games. So that's actually good to know. Let's see. Do we have any other questions or suggestions of ways that you have been using screen share? If anybody has any questions, for example, just yeah, like raise your hand in the chat, and then we'll see if we can answer your questions.
I'm sticking to whiteboard because I teach mainly children.
Yes.
And I'm experiencing bad internet connection to begin with, because I think the traffic is like super high. So the less screen sharing I do, the better for the kids and me in my group. So I'm sticking to whiteboard, which is working very well. I'm hesitant to go into full screen share for in case things freeze. And also I bought myself a pro plan. So I don't know if it can do it on basic plans, but I'm able to also do it.
Yeah, so yeah, Sally, like what you were saying, actually, we're hearing that problem now with your bad internet connection. But it's a good point. If you do have a bad internet connection, then maybe using the whiteboard is less data being transmitted, and if you can switch from one to the other, if you're having a bad internet connection, it might be useful. Let's see. Any other comments or questions or interesting ideas that you've managed to use in your classes thus far?
I have a website which was sent to me. If anybody would want to know it, a friend of mine in St. Petersburg sent it to me. It's called Active Inspire without the E. For like memory games, you can create interactive crosswords. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, Sally, you could actually type that URL or type the name of the website in the chat, and that way everybody can see it, and you wouldn't have to worry about like spelling it or anything.
Type it in for you. It's called Active Inspire.
Okay, Active Inspire.
Yeah,
okay.
I did a dummy lesson with her from St. Petersburg. She wanted to test a memory game she had made, which was quite fun. She just had to fiddle with her the screen share option, but she kind of got it. And she created an interactive crossword, a memory game, and some other games which were really, really nice. So if anybody has adult students or has excellent internet connection, check that site out.
Yeah, there are any number of really great internet, just websites that provide you with opportunities to create these interactive games. The one with the little train game that I was just showing was from a website called WordWall.
Okay, thank you.
There's another one called Pear Deck that a lot of people have been using. Let's see, Tatiana has a question. She says, if she wants to nominate 2 participants for a short dialogue, and she wants the others to watch it, is it possible to show these 2 visible, let's see, to the rest of the group? I don't know. Is there a way to, like, that's more of just trying to utilize the video feeds you have from everybody. Is there a way to specify which specific videos you, or which specific students you want to show on the screen? I know on speaker view, I don't know if I have the opportunity to look at specific speakers.
Just imagine the situation that, for example, we have a group either of young learners or not the young learners. Sometimes it is good during the class when 2 people are discussing, for example, if it is something very funny, some special activities, and we want to, because if the group is out of 6-7 people, you cannot see all of them all the time. It is just switching. But I know how to just put somebody visible by everybody. You can just put your cursor on his or her icon, and those 3 dots in the right corner of this icon, and you can choose pin video only for yourself, but also there is an option, I don't remember how it is called, but if you put it, everybody will see this one person. But if you want it not one person speaking his monologue, but really a dialogue for 2 people. Can you do it somehow?
Crazy.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I don't know how to do that.
Okay, sorry.
But as much as I've tried to learn about this, I admit that there may be new things that I haven't learned yet. If anybody has experience doing that, then you can feel free to share. Let's see. Let's see. Scott, yeah, you were doing the clapping there. I wasn't recognizing that immediately as a hand raise. But okay, yes, you've got a question, Scott.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick question. When you're screen sharing, or you go to share your screen, you get the option of sharing your desktop or perhaps using the whiteboard. Yeah? My question is, can you use them both at the same time? So, for example, if you're on your desktop and you have a material, a sheet there with materials, or there's an exercise and you're going through it with the student, and the student has a question that's grammar related or vocab related, can you pull up the whiteboard at the same time and have them on the desktop at the same time, so you can still have the exercise open but also have the whiteboard open at the same time so that you can type something to demonstrate?
Yeah, I don't think you can pull up 2 things simultaneously, but when you go to the top, if you're sharing your screen, there is an option at the top that says New Share, and it allows you to toggle back and forth between them pretty easily. So I can switch from my screen view back to the whiteboard without having to exit screen share. I don't know if that accomplishes the same goal that you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking, I mean, it does, it answers my question, I suppose, but it's more or less, can you have the whiteboard and the open exercise, for example, in the same screen so you can see them side by side, for example?
I don't know if there's a way, I don't think there's a way to do that.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken, but I don't believe there's a way to do that.
So you can just toggle back and forth between the 2 effectively?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But we can do it in another way, I think.
Okay.
We can just open 2 windows on our screen, prepare them, and sharing the screen. Yes, we shall not use the whiteboard as it is, but we can take, I don't know, open Word or whatever, anything, and we can just use both sharing our screen.
Yeah, I think Microsoft Word is a good place. You could open Microsoft Word on one side. You could open the thing that you want to display through screen share on the other side, and just have that as 2 windows on your desktop.
Absolutely.
And then that would be a good way to sort of show 2 things at the same time. If it's text-based, then Microsoft Word would be really good. If it's more, if you want them to interact more like the actual virtual whiteboard where they're drawing and things like that, then you could use Paint, Microsoft Paint. It has similar functions. So you could actually do text or pictures or things like that. Yes, Stephen?
I also wanted to add that you can actually just annotate any screen share that you do. You can, so if maybe the reason for him wanting to do that is because maybe he wants to write something or demonstrate something, you can still do that regardless of what screen you're sharing. Even if you're showing a desktop, you can still annotate that, right? So for example, so I don't know if you will need to, if he needs a white background, then okay, Word might be useful, but you can still use the annotate function too, regardless of what you're annotating, you are sharing.
Yeah, so I've actually done that with some classes where I just shared a document and then on screen share, and then we just annotate in the margins, annotate off to the side, and so they're able to interact with it, and I can just kind of use the blank space off to the side of the document as kind of a whiteboard. And you could even, I'll bet there's a way to create like a little white box by just drawing a box and filling it in with color. You could almost like create a little mini whiteboard in the screen share with the annotate function. Yeah. Let's see. All right. So as you can see, I think no one person here is the ultimate expert on how to use everything. Everybody's learned a trick or 2 here or there. Oh goodness. Okay. Yes, Stephen.
Ted, can I ask a question?
Sure. Yes, Olga. Yes.
Is there a chance to show a picture on a whiteboard? Because I didn't find a way.
I think when you're using the whiteboard, again, somebody could experiment and discover this, but I believe on the whiteboard, you just have the opportunity to sort of draw and use the stamps.
Yep, thank you.
So yeah, I just wanted to add that there's a pretty useful shortcut that I found that, for example, you can hear the sound on the background. It's pretty distracting, right? So you can just press Alt M and you can mute everybody. For example, if you're busy teaching, I don't know, maybe you're busy teaching, right? And then there's all of a sudden the sound on the background coming. So you can just simply press Alt M. It's a really nice shortcut to just mute everybody so that there's no sound distracting.
Yeah, you can even without the shortcut, you can just click on mute all. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where the sound is coming from to mute it. Yeah.
Yes. And so usually, for example, let's say you're sharing screen, so you can't see your participants to press the mute all function. So that's when the shortcut would be maybe useful. Let's say you're on your board and you explain some grammar or something, and then all of a sudden there's some drilling coming from the I don't know, top floor or something, and you can just mute everybody.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Using you have to understand, as a teacher, sometimes you just need to mute everybody, and it might be good to make it clear to the students that you're not being rude. You're not trying to be antagonistic towards them if you just remove everybody's ability to make sound. Sometimes it's just a distraction, and it's the quickest way to make it be quiet. But yeah, that is something that you can do during the screen share. Any other questions or comments or ideas concerning sharing our screens? All right then. Well, I thank you very much for your. Oh yes. Okay. We've got a little song there. Okay, I thought it was a question.
I have a question actually.
Okay, Olga, and then we'll go back to Stephen. Yes.
Oh, sorry. You said that there are a lot of websites for designing and stuff, and I was thinking of dragging and dropping things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have maybe anything for that?
So honestly, everybody has their own like knowledge of like what websites they like to go to find activities. I do a lot of exam classes, so I don't use a lot of like interactive website game type things. Although I might start using that more since everything's online. But I don't know if anybody has any suggestions for like websites containing lots of websites containing interactive type games.
Mm-hmm. So you can design them, not just have
you can design it on the website learningapps.org. I've written it in chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can design any types of activity, matching, the drag and drop, sorting out, classifying, any kind. And
perfect.
On YouTube, you can find the video that explains how to make the activity on your own.
Okay, thank you.
Kind of manual. There are different kinds of manuals how to use learning apps on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot.
Exactly in the process of exploring it now, and I see that it's got a great potential.
Okay.
Okay, and Stephen, did you have something else to add? I saw your hand was up also a moment ago. Your question is answered. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you very much, everybody, for your attention today, and I really can't say thank you enough to all of our teachers in general for your flexibility and your hard work in learning how to use this new platform. If there are any specific problems or questions or ideas that you're having, please feel free to contact the Academic Management Department, and we can see if there's a way to help you, or it may be a good idea for a future workshop like this. Something that we can have some Q&A, we can talk about something and get it posted on our YouTube channel so that we can help everybody, not just the people who show up today. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Great job.
Continue having fun this week with Zoom at home, and hopefully we'll be back in our schools before too long. Great. Thanks a lot, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care. Good luck. Thank you.
Bye.
Good job.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.